Morning everyone, hope you've had a lovely weekend and I've had lots of rest and are now ready to start with this week's English. So on the flip chart in front of you, you can see 3 keywords and some pictures, and these words are words that came from our English just before the holidays. So the words are verbs, and if you can remember, verbs are actions. So I've got 3 actions on the board for you here. So the first one is spin, if you can say that. Fabulous. So can you remember in our story that Astrid was spinning round and round? Okay, so her dad was spinning Astrid round and round. So that's what the verb spinning means. In the middle here, I've got the verb squeeze. Okay, can you say that? Super. So if you're squeezing something, it means you're holding it really tightly, you're squeezing things together. So have a little go at squeezing your hand together there. Well done. And the final verb I've got here is float. Can you say that? Fabulous. So if you're floating, it means you're up in the air or in the water. You're not on the bottom of something, okay? And you can see here we've got a picture of this lovely astronaut floating around in space, because we said in space there is 0 gravity. Okay, so it's not attached to anything, it's floating up in the air. So we're going to have a go at trying to work out now which words go in this sentence and this command. Because remember, we were saying that commands have verbs at the start of them. So here is my sentence. I'm going to have a go at reading it. If you can have a go at reading it too at home, that would be great. So we've got missing word here, and the rest of it is food, food, out of a tube. So something food out of a tube. Have a little think. When we were doing about Astrid, was she floating food out of a tube, squeezing food out of a tube, or spinning food out of a tube? What is the correct verb that makes sense in that context? What would you do with the tube of food? So hopefully you've worked out that the verb that is missing is squeeze food out of a tube. So get your food in your hand and squeeze the food out of it, because we've talked, haven't we, about how astronauts have to squeeze their food out of a tube, because otherwise, if they ate food like we did, we'd be floating everywhere in their rocket. Here I've got another sentence, so let's have a go at reading this one. So I've got out and round, and round the earth, round and round the earth. Right, so what a verb that's telling me that they're going round and round the earth. Well, we did an action before and it was like this. Can you remember? So have a think. Which verb was that for? Was that for float, squeeze, or spin? So hopefully you've said spin. Okay, so spin round and round the earth. Well done if you got that one right at home. The last one, I've got this sentence. It says among the stars. So among the stars. Is it squeeze among the stars? Squeeze in the middle of the stars, that wouldn't make sense. Spin among the stars? No. The word among means like you're in between them. So I would be saying float among the stars, because you're floating in between all the stars in the sky. Now, hopefully, you've all warmed up a little bit from the weekend and we're ready to have a go at doing our learning, because last week, as you can see on the screen now, we got sent some fantastic writing from both phonics and English lessons. So well done to all these people who've submitted me some work. Hopefully you might be able to see yours up on the screen, and well done if you are. That's because we've been very impressed with the work that you've produced. So please make sure that you're still sending it in every day so that I can check it and so that I can share it with all your friends so they can see what you've been doing at home as well. So well done to all these people. So we're going to start by reading the end of the story today. So we're going to go right from the beginning all the way to the end to find out what happens at the end of the story, which I'm oh so excited about, so I hope you are at home too. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so that then you can see me reading our story, Astro Girl. So here is Astro Girl. There's Astrid and there's her little dog, and she's got her space helmet. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to read it right from the beginning to the end to find out what happens. So Astrid had loved the stars and space ever since she could remember. I want to be an astronaut, Astrid told her best friend Jake as they gazed up at the stars. Will you bring me an asteroid when you come back from space? Asked Jake. Of course I will, Jakey. I want to be an astronaut, Astrid said at breakfast. Are you sure, Papa asked. You'll have to go round and round the Earth in your spaceship. So we could use the word spin in there, couldn't we? Because she's having to spin round and round. He swung her around. I can do that, Astrid giggled. What about eating food out of a tube or a packet every day? You remember we were saying about squeezing that food out of a tube. I can do that, said Astrid, munching on a cereal bar. Can you munch on your cereal bars at home? Okay, Astro Girl, you'll also have to get used to near zero gravity. And Papa threw her up in the air. I can do that all day long, laughed Astrid. So that, remember, we were talking about Astrid floating up because there's no gravity in space. What about all the science experiments? Asked Papa. Could you do those, my star princess? Easy peasy, said Astrid, and they made her favourite cookies in the shapes of rockets. Will a space cadet like you be able to sleep on your own amongst the stars? Papa asked. I think that will be very hard, but I'll do it, Astrid whispered. She looks very snuggly and cosy there, doesn't she? At last, it was the day that they were going to fetch Mama in the car. Astrid wore her favourite space t-shirt. At the airbase, they moved to the front of the crowd just in time for the doors to open. And out walked 3 people. This is where we got to the other day, wasn't it? So let's find out who these people are. Mama! Shouted Astrid. They hugged and she gave her mum a big kiss. Oh, Mama, I have missed you. Have a little look at what her mama is wearing. What do you think she is? Where do you think she might have been? I want to be an astronaut just like you, Astrid said. You're my hero. So this is Astrid's mama, and we have learned that she was one of those figures coming out, and that she is an astronaut. And this rocket here in the background, hopefully you can see, is what she had just travelled up to space in. Wow. So that's the end of our story. And I wonder if you made some correct predictions about whose Astrid's mama was and what her job was. Maybe you'd already made that prediction that the 3 figures coming out, one of them was Astrid's mama. But at the back of this story, some interesting facts actually. And I want to share them with you because I think they're quite interesting. And it says here at the top, this is what Astrid found when she read all the books that she could find about being an astronaut. So here I'm going to tell you some information about space and astronauts. So the word astronaut comes from 2 Greek words. Astron, meaning star, and nautes, meaning sailor. American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first to land on the moon in the lunar module Eagle on the 20th of July, 1969. So the first people to land on the moon only landed so about 50, 60 years ago, so that's not that long ago. The first animal to go into orbit was Laika the dog on board the Soviet Sputnik 2 space aircraft on the 3rd of November, 1957. So they sent the animal, the dog, into space before they sent humans, so maybe they sent the animal to test whether it was safe for humans to go, possibly. On this page here in the story, there are some interesting people from history throughout space, which I'm just going to read a few to you here so you've got a few facts. So here, I've got Valentina Tereshkova, and she was from Russia, and she was the first woman in space in 1963. Wow, what an achievement. Here you've got Shannon Matilda Wells Lucid from the USA, and she set the record for the longest time spent in space by a woman, and she was actually up in space for 188 days. Wow. Here we've got May Carroll Jemison, and she was the first African-American woman in space in 1992. Here, Helen Sharman was the first British astronaut and the first woman to visit the Mir space station in 1991. And here I've got Kalpana Chawla, and she was the first woman of Indian origin in space in 1997. Wow, what amazing achievements that these women have had to all have travelled into space. Incredible. And here I've got another couple of facts just at the bottom, and it says space food is dried so that it will not spill or leak and cause any damage to machines. Fruit, breads and nuts are okay as they are because they're dried so they wouldn't damage the machines when they're eaten. And here I've got astronauts train underwater to create the feeling of floating in space. Wow. So I found out lots of facts about space from reading that book, and I hope you have as well. And I really have enjoyed learning about Astrid, and maybe some of you at home are thinking, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut and I want to be travelling into space, potentially. So when I arrived today into school, I had a letter on my desk. And I want to share this with you because it's not addressed to me, as you can see here. It says Year 1 Byron Wood. Okay, so it's for all of you. So I'm going to open it up and have a little read of it so you can see what it says, because I think there's an important task in here for you to be getting on with at home. So I'll read it to you now. It says, "Dear children, I followed my dream, and like May Jemison, Helen Sharman, Kalpana Chawla and my amazing mum, I made it to space. I want to help other children, girls and boys who dream of space travel to have this experience too. And for those who don't want to go to space, I want to give them information about the wonders I have seen. I have been asked to write a space travel fact file. Can you help me? Yours sincerely, Astrid." Oh, wow. So Astrid has actually left us a letter. And it says that she wants to help other children who dream of space travel to have this experience too, because she has followed her dream and she's travelled to space. How amazing. So she also says at the bottom that she wants us to help write a space travel fact file. And can we help her? Well, I think that we can. And that's going to be our learning job today. So let's have a little explore. So a fact file is a non-fiction text, okay? And it's something we haven't come across much this year in Year 1. So it's something that we need to explore a little bit at home today. So non-fiction texts are full of facts and information, and they contain lots of facts about different topics. So this is all real information. So Astrid has asked us to create a fact file about space and space travel. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. And in these fact files, or in these non-fiction texts, they're normally split into sections about different information so you can navigate yourself through them. So they're a little bit different to stories, okay? So there are different features of non-fiction texts and fact files, which I want you to have a little explore at home. And one of those features are headings, okay? So headings are titles. And the headings tell us what the text or the information is going to be about. So for example, here I've just highlighted the heading, and this heading says owls. So this book, this non-fiction text would all be about owls. Okay, here I've got another non-fiction text, and the heading is a jumping cow. So this non-fiction text is all about a cow that has been jumping. All right, so headings are another word for a title. So make sure you're sticking these in your head today, because in a minute you're going to go and explore these different features. We've also got another feature of non-fiction text, and these are called subheadings. Can you say that? So subheadings are mini titles, and what they do is when you open the book or when you're reading the non-fiction text, the subheadings at the top of the page will tell you what each section is about. So it breaks up that big bit of information. It's like a mini title telling you what is in that section. And sometimes they can be bold or bigger than the rest of the text on the page so that they can stand out. So if we have a look on this page here, right at the top, we've got the mini title, okay? And it's telling me what this information is all about. And it says, hunting, well done. So these 2 pages are all about hunting, and this subheading here tells me about it. Here, I've got another subheading at the top of these pages, and it says, living at night, living at night. So these 2 pages are all about owls living at night, and I know that because that is what the subheading has told me. Okay, sometimes pages have more than one subheading. So here I've got another example, and I've got one subheading here, one subheading here, and another subheading here. All right, so they've got key questions which are about like mini titles, and then the information underneath regards and links back to that subheading. So far we've learned that non-fiction texts have headings and subheadings. Let's have a look and see what else they've got. We also have contents pages, okay? So content means what is inside of something. So contents pages in a book or a non-fiction text, they tell you what is in the book, all right? And it's done in an order, so it's done in page order, so on page 1, then 2, etc. And it lists the titles of the different sections so you know where to find things. So for example, here at the top it says table of contents, and if I wanted to find out about animal babies, I would look across, and on page 14 that's where I would find it, and that's where I'd turn to it in the book. Here I've got another contents page, and I know that because it says at the top. Also, things are in order, the pages are on the side as well, so I know where to find things. So if I wanted to look at what fish need, I would turn to page 17, and so forth, okay? I've also got index pages. So index pages aren't in all books, but they are in some non-fiction books, and they're normally at the back of a non-fiction book, okay? And what it does is it lists important words from the books in alphabetical order. So for example, here I've got an index from a book, and I'll just make that a little bit bigger. If I wanted to find out about castles, then what I would do is I'd look for the word castles. It's in alphabetical order, so A, B, C. And then here it tells me the page numbers that I would be able to go on to find out more information about castles. So I'd be able to look in this book and look on page 5 and 9 about castles, okay? There are also glossaries in some non-fiction books as well. And a glossary is a bit like a dictionary. So it has the key word, and then it has an explanation next to it as to what the key word means. So it gives it a definition. For example, here the keyword is laptop, and the definition next to it is a small computer that you can use on your lap. Okay, so we've also got photographs and pictures, which are probably some of the most exciting things that some of you might see in non-fiction books, because some of the pictures and photographs that you see are incredible. Okay, especially some of the photos of the wildlife books and magazines. When I pick them up, I always love looking at wildlife photographs in non-fiction text. So here you can see that we've got some photographs and some pictures. So photographs are photos that have been taken with a camera, okay, of the real life objects or the real life animals or creatures, whereas pictures have been drawn, okay. So down here at the bottom, the owls, these have been drawn or sketched. And some books have one or the other, and some of them have both in them. So I've got the key features here on the board for you to have a little look at, and we're going to have a go now at trying to match them up. So here I've got a heading. So who can remember what a heading is? Is a heading a mini title to tell us what the section is about? Is it where it has keywords from the text? Is it title of the text? Is it where it explains words and gives definitions? Or does it tell us where things are in the book? So hopefully you'll have said that the heading is the title of the text, so we can match those up. What about a subheading? What did we say a subheading was? So hopefully you'll have said that a subheading is a mini title, so it tells us what that section is about. What about a glossary? What about a glossary? So a glossary is a tricky one. Remember, a glossary has the key words and then it gives us a definition, similar a little bit to a dictionary, okay? We've also got an index page. An index page is where it has keywords from the text and it tells us where to find them. Then a contents page tells us where things are in the book. So well done if you got all of those correct at home. So today's task, you're going to have a go at identifying some of these features. Now, fingers crossed, some of you will have some non-fiction books at home that you can use to identify all these different features. But don't worry if not, because I've put some sheets on the school website where you can identify these features from non-fiction texts. So here I've popped one up on the screen. And this is just an example for you to have a go at doing with me at home. And what I want us to do is identify where the subheading is. Okay, so where is the subheading in this text? So let me have a think back. I know that a subheading is like a mini title and it tells me what these pages are about. So here is my subheading. So if I was at home, I can circle that and pop the subheading next to it, or you can draw a lovely little line and write the word subheading, okay? I've also got picture, so you might want to get your picture, circle where the picture is on it, and draw it, okay? You've got lots more features though that you need to identify than just those two. And here they are on the sheet for you to have a little look at. So I have given you a pack and they are full of lots and lots of non-fiction text. So please feel free to use what I've put on the school website. But like I said before, if you've got any non-fiction text at home and books, please do use these as well. It's good to have a look at a range of different non-fiction texts. So here, have a little go at reading them. And on this side here, you can see that I've got the features that you're looking for. So a heading, you've got photograph, picture, subheading, glossary, etc. So you can be getting your pen, you can be circling the feature and then writing next to it what it is. Okay, circling the feature, writing next to it what it is. My challenge to you is for you to find out what is it called when we have a picture that has got labels on it. So that's my challenging question for you to do today. So you've got quite a little bit to do there today. Lots of exploring with non-fiction text. So don't forget to send us through the pictures of all the exploring that you've been doing and all the different features that you can find, because we really need to know what a non-fiction text is before we start to write our fact files ready for what Astrid has asked us to do in her letter. Good luck with doing this task, and I can't wait to see all the super work that you send in today. See you tomorrow. Bye.